Did you guys know that divorce is illegal in the Philippines? I personally had no idea. The title of this video is China's Leftover Women Are Doomed. No one wants them, with an exclamation mark. Vietnamese and Filipino women marry without dowry. Now, if you know the situation and circumstance right now in China, and you've been following China Observer, you know that the men in China are more open to marrying foreign women. They don't have to worry about dowries. They don't have to worry about all these cultural expectations. Believe it or not, they're going through it more than men here in the West. Not only, imagine if you're dealing with modern women who claim to be feminists and hate men and expect you to marry them. And not only that, but on top of that, you had to give them a dowry before you marry them. So you had to pretty much pay before you lock yourself in consistent bills from a chick who's not traditional and does not appreciate you, and also might actually divorce you and take everything you've built and owned. This is what's led a lot of men in China to pass over marriage in their countries. Too much of a burden. Then they have the burden of taking care of their own parents. It's a lot. And then comes foreign women. Whether these women are coming from like Ukraine or refugees or whatever, or they're just immigrants who are migrating to China, they are a better choice for these men, typically because they don't expect many of the things that the women in their country expect, like a dowry. No more wasting time. Let's get into it.
These three girls all came from the Philippines to marry guys in China. The pregnant one's my wife. That one's got a kid already too. At this rate, our whole village will end up with Filipino wives. We've got 4 already, and another guy's in the works. He's heading to the Philippines this Christmas.
Oh, why are they all poking their nose? Right? Does that come with the deal? Does that come with the deal? I guess you got to pick and choose what you're willing to deal with, right? You might get this along with your foreign bride.
Christmas to marry his girl and bring her back. In August, a farmer vlogger from Western Guangdong revealed that a Filipino woman had married into his village. She's been living in China for 7 to 8 years and is now raising 2 children. At this rate, the whole village is going to end up with Filipino wives. In a separate video, a vlogger addressed questions from internet users about marrying Filipino women. A ton of folks online keep asking, won't those Filipino wives just take off? Let me tell you straight, they won't. Why is that funny? Because in the Philippines, divorce isn't a thing. They've got marriage certificates, but no divorce papers. So how do you even get divorced? Some people also ask, if you don't speak the same language, how do you talk? Simple. We use WeChat. It's got auto-translate, so chatting's a breeze. No issues there. But here's the real kicker. The worry isn't her running off. It's if you ever want out. Good luck. Divorce isn't happening. Philippine law doesn't allow it. You get a marriage certificate. That's valid everywhere. And you're locked in. You can't undo it. Not even in China. That certificate's on record worldwide.
That's wild.
You're hitched. Try marrying someone else? That's bigamy, and it's a crime. So marry a Filipino girl. You'll never stress about her leaving. The video triggered widespread online engagement. Viewers from Guangdong, Guangxi, Zhejiang, and other regions commented, asking the vlogger to introduce them to Filipino brides. One user commented, marrying a Filipino wife is a great deal. Chinese wives often avoid cleaning and expect financial support, while a Filipino wife doubles as a housekeeper. Another user wrote, hello, handsome. Finding your video feels like fate. I'm from Yangjiang. Can you introduce Filipino girls to my sons? Both are unmarried. Other comments included, the bride price for a Filipino wife is around 10,000 yuan. Only the paperwork costs are high. And, hello, handsome. I'm from Huazhou. Can you introduce someone? My brother is 34 and still single. Another user praised, Filipino girls are more considerate than Chinese girls. They're tidy, diligent, and attractive. I recommend finding a wife in the Philippines.
Let's talk about the sponsor of this channel, fathershaverights.com. Engaged and soon-to-be married men, hiring the wrong lawyer can leave you with an overpriced, unenforceable prenup. Avoid the trap. Inside my step-by-step guide at fathershaverights.com, renowned attorneys James Sexton and the lead attorney lay out the exact questions to ask, red flags to spot, and proven steps to hiring the perfect prenup lawyer. The guide itself costs only a couple of dinner dates, far less than a single billable hour. Hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section, lock in your guide, and join the hundreds of men securing their marriages the right way. Now, imagine if the passport bros were in this situation, All right, the women are coming to you because they realize, and they made it easier for them to come. I guess the only thing I'd be worried about, I'm sure you guys have already thought about it, is how if these women are brought to the US, they will most likely be transformed into modern feminist women. Now, could it be that the cultural resilience of pushing through a marriage, and no, we're not talking about abuse and physical this and that. No, no, no. We're talking about just a hard, difficult life, which we all have once in a while, along with the wonderful good things that come with life and the beautiful moments. If they're willing to withstand that more because they come from a culture where people just don't quit when it gets too hard. That could also be part of it. But I'm sure they can't go back and divorce in their country. And that means something, right? It will be a crime. Maybe that's it, right? That they can't return divorce because that would mean that they've committed a crime. Do they get married in the Philippines and then bring them here? Who knows?
In recent years, Chinese social media discussions about rural men marrying foreign brides have intensified.
Mm.
A growing gender imbalance in rural areas with more single men drives this trend. Women from Vietnam and the Philippines are increasingly viewed as a solution to this social challenge. Young people in mainland China face intense economic pressures, and marriage often requires a costly bride price, a house, and a car. Many young men, especially those born in the 1980s and 1990s, find marriage unattainable and express skepticism about love. A vlogger explained that unlike China's demands for a high bride price, a house, and a car, marrying a Filipino bride is straightforward. If she likes you, a meal, a ring, and a pass are enough to get married.
Hmm.
This contrast makes Filipino brides highly appealing to single Chinese men. A vlogger showcased several Filipino wives living in her village.
Whoa, guys, look who showed up at our shop tonight. These friends are all from the Philippines. So, how many of you are Filipino? 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, 4 of them. But maybe they don't speak much Chinese. Anyone here who speaks Chinese?
She knows a little bit, just a little. I married a Filipino gal, and we're living out in the countryside. She keeps saying it's boring at our place. Same old, nothing going on. But isn't that just rural life? She says she's not happy, but we've been here for decades,
Uh oh. Is this the dark side?
making our own joy. You've got to find happiness in the countryside too, right? So I take her shopping to perk her up. A Chinese vlogger has issued a reminder, warning men who are rushing to the Philippines in search of wives to be cautious as the reality is far more complex.
Mm.
Lately, I've seen too many Chinese guys online envying the idea of marrying a Filipino girl. They say Chinese women ask for a car, a house, a bride price, but Filipino girls don't ask for anything. They are hardworking too. Don't get fooled by the hype. Let's be real for a second. Sure, some of them are mixed race beauties, but others are single mums who had to grow up fast. Some might see marrying a Chinese man as a way to move up in life, but others may just want you to support their entire family, and they will drain you dry.
I mean, we just saw this in a recent video. Remember the last one I released on supporting families when you're married to somebody who comes from a different country? Nuanced conversation we had over there. It wasn't just one-sided. I'd advise you to go check it out. Pretty interesting.
The blogger noted that is illegal in the Philippines, leading many young women from poor families to become single mothers at a young age. Still children themselves, they must raise their own, driving them to seek financial stability. They are often hardworking, diligent, and keep the home spotless. However, some may expect support for their entire families. In rare cases, men marrying Filipino women have been deceived, losing both money and marriage. Some social media users recommend marrying Vietnamese women. One user commented, "Filipino wives don't seem very attractive. For your village's sake, consider a Vietnamese wife. Vietnamese girls are prettier." Another countered, "Vietnamese women aren't dependable. I want a partner for life, not just beauty. Someone too attractive feels less trustworthy." In recent years, many Chinese men have married Vietnamese women, with some proudly showcasing their attractive partners on social media. "I didn't spend a single cent back then and still managed to bring home a Vietnamese wife. She's 15 years younger than me." One vlogger shared his story. After a divorce, he moved to Vietnam to start a business. Just as he began to make money, he was scammed by a new girlfriend. It was during his lowest point that his current wife chose to be with him. But not all experiences are so positive. "I really regret marrying my Vietnamese wife. Honestly, poor folks like us just aren't cut out for international marriages." Hey everyone, I'm Ah Liang, living in Vietnam. Today, I'm breaking down the headaches of cross-border marriages, hoping you'll hear me out and maybe avoid some pitfalls. First off, if you settle in China, your wife can't work there legally. Buying insurance? Nope. A green card? Forget it. That's even tougher, unless you've got your own business to employ her, but that's rare. Once kids come, the pressure's on. You're footing nearly all the family bills alone. Truth is, most Vietnamese women, about 80%, marry into China to escape poverty back home. They're banking on a better life with you, not more hardship.
Right.
After a while in China, they'll miss home. Even one yearly visit means a month away, with visas, flights, and other costs piling up. You can't roll up empty-handed either. Gifts for her family are a must, and how much depends on your wallet. If her family is really struggling, she might even send them money every month. The vlogger noted that family background matters significantly. If the husband's financial situation is too strained, the wife may leave, leading to both financial and emotional loss. He also highlighted cultural challenges, including language, diet, customs, and beliefs.
And so he's talking about having to support her family back home. And to that, I'll remind everybody the same thing I pretty much said in the last video where I talked about this is you have to understand that that is part of the deal. I'm not talking about supporting her entire family. No, I'm talking about how people in an individualistic society really only see the solution to this as just don't help. Like just don't help. Don't help anybody. And I don't think they realize how deeply entrenched someone's value who comes up from a communal upbringing is attached to who they are, how they get satisfaction from life, right? It's like your family is like a part of you that you have to help out, or else you don't feel like you are doing anything of value in this life. And to understand this when you weren't raised up this way can be very, very challenging. And my solution to the struggle has been to have clear boundaries of just how much you're willing to help. And you as a man need to draw the line of like, this is how much we're willing to help. This is the amount of money we can allocate. And you have to know that once in a while, issues may come and people may come this, but you're like, no, you be the person that has to be blamed. You got to be the bad guy and say, this is what it is, and it's good knowing this beforehand, because going into a marriage, if this is something that you value with that woman, you can communicate this. It's like, we will have a cutoff. We're not going to be in the situation where we're solving a black hole of problems, because you cannot solve all the problems of poverty in a third world country, unfortunately.
Which differ greatly between the two countries and require time to navigate. Living in Vietnam, as he does, may ease these adjustments slightly. Please, don't just casually marry a Vietnamese wife. That's advice from someone who's been through it. A Sichuan vlogger shared his experience marrying his Vietnamese girlfriend. Now with a 1-month-old baby, he faces several challenges. First, their lifestyle differs, especially diets, as Vietnamese cuisine requires ingredients only available online via Pinduoduo. Fortunately, his wife cooks well, which he says is critical to avoid bigger issues. Communication is limited to basic exchanges due to language differences. Frequent cross-border visits to her family are costly, adding financial strain. Post-marriage pressures have left him physically and mentally exhausted. A Vietnamese woman cautioned Chinese men against paying brokers for marriages. She advised meeting someone naturally while traveling in Vietnam, emphasizing that such relationships are more likely to endure.
Chinese men, stop coming to Vietnam just to find wives. You think we are poor, so you can just spend a little money and buy a wife? If you can't find a wife in China, do you really think you can get one in Vietnam? People always say Vietnam is poor. Don't forget, it's 2025 for us too. The things you see, we see as well. You use iPhones, we use iPhones too. If you can't afford to support a family in China, how can you in Vietnam? People accuse Vietnamese girls of marriage scams, but that's because you are trying to buy a wife with money. That's not how it works. In Vietnam, you don't need to pay to find a wife. You come here, travel, meet people, fall in love. That's how a real relationship forms.
I agree with her. I wouldn't see it working any other way. I mean, why would you trust a broker? That's just a great opportunity for people to just set you up. Do you guys disagree? That just seems very straightforward to me. I wouldn't trust some company. What? It would make sense to me that the best way would be to organically meet somebody and properly vet them yourself.
Marriage doesn't cost money, but if you try to buy a wife, of course you will get scammed. If you really want to marry a Vietnamese woman, you need to understand our culture. Take it slow, don't rush. Back then, I ignored my parents' objections and married into rural China. Do I regret it now?
A Vietnamese woman married to a man in rural China posted a video online of herself cutting grass in the fields. When it spread on Vietnamese social media, the comments were harsh, questioning why others in China live in apartments and drive cars while she married into poverty. Many recalled warning her against moving to China and now mock her daily struggles, suggesting she'd be better off back home. She admitted ignoring her parents' objections to marry in China. Though some assume she regrets it, she says she feels no regret.
Wow.
Another Vietnamese woman
There
commented,
you go.
I've lived in Anhui, China for 14 years since marrying. My husband passed away over 3 years ago, leaving me to raise our children alone. Life in China is highly stressful and exhausting. China affairs expert Yue Shan noted that discussions about marrying Vietnamese or Filipino women often focus on material benefits. However, many foreign women marry into China out of necessity. Under Communist Party rule, China lacks religious and press freedoms, and corruption is widespread. Vietnam, by contrast, avoided events like the Cultural Revolution, enjoys greater online freedom, and has a rising economy, while China's declines. The Philippines also offers a freer society. These women, he said, are entering a less free country. Since the Russia Ukraine war began, more Chinese men have married women from Russia and Ukraine. My wife's whipping up some pickled cucumber for a Ukrainian cold dish to share. She's in the kitchen now, cooking something. Don't know if it's lunch or dinner, but whatever, as long as she's happy. The way she cuts veggies is totally different from how we do it back home. In Ukraine, they don't use big kitchen knives, just these tiny ones. Another vlogger filmed himself preparing to head to the train station with flowers to welcome his Ukrainian wife back from a vacation abroad.
Right.
Today's a big day. My wife's coming home. I'm gonna hop in the shower, throw on some fresh clothes, grab some flowers, and head to the train station to pick her up. She's been off on an overseas vacation for about a month now. A man from rural Henan confessed that he has little money, yet his Ukrainian wife still crossed thousands of miles to marry him without hesitation. A couple days ago, an auntie told Irina that with her looks, she could have landed a way better catch, but here she is with me. No car, no house, no bride price, just living out in the countryside. What's she even getting out of this? The vlogger shared that his wife believes true love is all that really matters. He described finding her as the greatest blessing of his life. In Gansu, another vlogger shared a rainy day video of himself and his Russian wife cooking together in their countryside home.
I mean, some of these situations are unbelievable, but it makes sense, especially if you're somebody who's like fleeing war and you're just looking for, because when real issues come, especially to a generation of chicks who've lived in a world where the environment around them has been so civilized and just made so simple for them that they forget their real issues. You'd be surprised what will happen when war comes. You'd be surprised when it's not so easy to get a job and AI's taken over, just how easy it will be for you to find a man and pick a man.
Honey, let me do it. Let me do it.
A viral video captured a Chinese man's traditional wedding ceremony with his foreign bride. China also has many single women. Official statistics show over 240 million single adults, including about 116 million women. Notably, about 80% of these women chose to stay single. Most are post-1990s, well-educated, and financially independent, living in cities. In contrast, single men are mostly in rural areas or lower-tier urban jobs. Some women want to marry but struggle to find partners. Commenting on the trend of Chinese men marrying foreign women, a Guangdong woman born in 1989 posted, I still can't find a husband, yet you're marrying foreign women? Since the late 1970s, China's one-child policy led to forced and significant population losses. Until 2013, the government enforced strict family planning, intending to maintain the one-child rule. Influenced by traditional son preference, many families sought illegal gender tests at underground clinics, aborting female fetuses. In poor rural areas, without such access, some people even abandoned their baby girls.
Wow.
This contributed to
That's terrible.
China's severe gender imbalance.
All right, that's it. We're going to check out some of these comments, see what the people have to say. Of course, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. Top comment here says, we were worried about China trying to invade the Philippines and then finding out the Philippines is already there. Somebody else here says, let me find out China has passport bros too. He's another person that added, understand that when you marrying a Filipino wife, you're marrying her entire family. Remember this. Somebody responded back. It's the same in China. At least there's no bridal price, car, savings, and apartment beforehand for her to take. I hope you guys are paying attention here. Bridal price, car, savings, apartments. These are things. And this is why I say things are a lot more difficult there. Is it? These are things they look for before seeing somebody is viable for a marriage, which is just insane. Somebody else here says, whether you're a Filipina, Vietnamese, Ukraine, etc., it's important to get to know the woman before marrying her, know her family background, dreams, financial standing, etc., to avoid any hassle or gold diggers. And of course, as you know, as Chishizad will always say, get a prenup. If, of course, the country respects it. Somebody else who says, if anyone wants to marrying internationally, do your research first. Don't marry blindly. Somebody else who says, Philippine girls are Catholics and are born with moral compass. They do value money, but they also value family and tradition. Treat them good and they will stay with you forever. Interesting. Somebody else who says, Filipinas aren't aggressive and are patient, and they will take care of you. They are considered, caring, family-oriented, and generous too. Not everyone, of course, and also Chinese and Filipinos have been marrying for decades. That's why there are Chinese communities here. Yeah. Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.